Hello everyone, my name is Mauro Stemberger from Italian Bonsai Dream and I want to introduce you this video for BonsaiKunst Hamburg. Enjoy!
Bonsai Dream.
I just landed in Grand Rapids half an hour ago. We have a Starbucks and we are ready to go with this beautiful Rocky Mountain Juniper. This tree is owned now by my good friend Tim Priest. The tree is in his collection and is a fantastic tree, very old, a lot of character. We repotted this tree last spring in this nice container to highlight all the base, and actually we also changed the front, so now this is the front. Originally the front was this one, but because we wanted to highlight more the deadwood on the tree, the big wave and all this gin, we just changed the front and did a little bit of moving of the structure. Now the tree grew well all the season, was unwired already last spring when we repotted and let the tree allowed to grow free. And now what we're gonna do is doing a little bit more work on the structure to push the line together and then wire all the vegetation to be able to create a nice pad and let's say the first redesign of this tree. I really love the tangent. I want to create a nice apex around it, and then we have a lot of nice lower branches, very strong. Then we can create nice lines and layers to highlight this beautiful trunk. Probably this tree is around 1,000 years old. It's a very old rocky mountain, probably collected in Wyoming on top of some rocks. And the character of the live line is fantastic. When we repot the tree, we was also able to reduce a little bit these long roots because we had a lot of very nice and fine roots coming out around the base of the tree. I love these two gin that probably were two long roots that died already when the tree was in nature. And the live line from this side is flowing up and twisting around the deadwood, and as I said, the wave we have in that part is very old and very nice. So let's start wiring the tree and start setting the first pads. So I just finished wiring this first lower branch completely. I start with the intermediate wire going out to the structure, and then with the fine wire all the little tips, while I was also cleaning. Rocky Mountain is very high maintenance for the first wiring, because there is a lot of competition between the branches getting strength and the branches getting a little bit weak, that they flop. But when we style it and we want to obtain a nice pad, we need to clean all the inner stuff from the crotches and the stuff that is not active anymore, and give more energy and support, especially to the little tips, that they can get stronger, and then they can build the pad structure. So now that this is wired, I'm gonna finish this upper area, and then I'm gonna shape this part. So I'm gonna do these three step by step, starting from the lower branches, setting, and then moving up and moving back until I will be on the top of the tree. So now that all this section is fine wired, I can start positioning the structure first, then the secondary, and then start aligning the pads. It's very important to put first of all the structure in position. By adding some guide wire, I can move this section down a little bit, so I can gain a little bit of length in this side with the green, and then I will start positioning the underline, and then using the inner stuff create the volume of my pads. So now the line is compressed on itself. I have a nice movement of the structure coming from the main branch, and I can start setting the little branches to create my first pad. So what I normally do, I lift up the other branches that I'm not using at the moment. I use side branches to make the line and a different pad, and I start aligning the outside line, starting normally from one side and going to the other, so I can follow the line of the pad. If there is inner stuff, I lift it up, and then I can use later to build more volume for my pad. Now that the outside line is done, I'm gonna fill different spaces using the inner branch and create a little bit of volume, but never squishing the branch one against to the other, because otherwise I risk to lose energy from some of them if they get shaded by the upper ones. If there is something hanging down that is weak, I can cut it away and clean. When I create pads of Juniper, I always leave a lot of runners at the end of the pad, so I don't risk to use energy, because especially on rocky mountain, what's happened if we prune very hard the strong tips and we leave just the weak one, they don't have enough energy to develop, and slowly they're gonna go backwards, and we're gonna lose a lot of the lines of our pads. So what I like to do while I style is to creep a lot of the strong one, then after 2-3 months or eventually next spring I can start chasing them back, so I'm not going to lose any energy from the pad, and I can develop the pad properly. Now that basically the pad is created, I need to check the underline and clean everything I feel is weak and hanging down. So this is giving more power to the upper line, and also give a little bit more refined feeling of the pad. And now we can start creating the second section of the first pad in this position, a little bit higher and a little bit on top of the other one, so we can create a two-part and not just a big pad that will look very static, but we want to create a nice dynamism on all this green mass. So now this side of the tree is done. I divide the main pad in many different ones, try to create a rhythm going up from the lower up to this guy, and clean the line between them and clean the vegetation to have everything getting nice light and can develop as a proper good foliage. And now that this side is done, I can move into the right side and do the same operation. So big wire first and then small wire, and at the end setting the pads. So I just finished the lower part of the tree, all the front is done and also the back. It's very important when I create the back to fill some negative spaces with some back branches to give depth to the tree, because otherwise the tree looks bidimensional and it's something we don't want on a bonsai. So the back branch is framing this empty space, and then I place another little guy in this position also to frame this part of the wave and give a little bit of depth under this other frontal branch. So now the work goes on. I'm gonna work on this area here, and then I will finish the apex. Here we are at the final part of the work. Finally, I got these two branches done. I still have to wire just the top here. I want to push the top down and forward using this guide wire, so I can compact the tree a little bit more around the gin and get a little bit more of extension of the two lower branches that I just wired to create a better visual connection with the lower part of the tree. So this branch is gonna set here, and this branch is gonna be forward in this position, visually cutting the straight line of the top and creating a nice green mass. And then at the end I just have to push this part in this position and frame the top with the green. Now the last leg of the work, all the apex is wired, so I want to anchor in this position, push down the apex and forward, so I can have this part inside here and start framing the deadwood with the crown. So now that the tree style is finished, I was going back and forth with this decision. There is this deadwood in the base that is kind of very strong visually, especially because this horizontal of the two lines that contrast a little bit with this nice curve of the first part of the trunk and the nice wave. So what I want to do is to reduce a little bit this wood, so I'm sure the lower part of the tree will become a little bit more dynamic and will give all the tree a different look. So I'm going to reduce this using my cutters. Les jeux sont faits.